Greetings and welcome to the show, Inspiring Black Math Geniuses, where we are committed and focused to helping you inspire the Black math genius inside your children and your community. My name is Freddie Taylor, and I am joined here with Assata Moore. Hey, Sister Assata, how you doing?
Hey there, Freddie. I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I am good. Excited to get into our discussion for the day. You
Same.
ready?
Hey, I'm always ready.
Stay ready, don't gotta get ready, right? All right, so
Yeah.
as normal, we keep our shows short and hard hitting, right? So we're gonna jump right into the content and right into the meat. And today we're talking about standardized testing, right? So standardized tests are a reflection of adults. This is gonna be a sore subject for some of them out there, right? They believe so much
Yes.
in standardized testing. So before we jump into the no benefits, but why are you so harsh on standardized testing? Why are you against it, Sister
Because you have to look at the billions of dollars being spent, the amount of time that we've been. I mean, think about this No Child Left Behind in Common Core. It's been out for how long now? A very long time.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is, what are the results? How is this changing the most important data? The most important data is this changing the lives of students? And it is not. The wealth gap is widening. There's a new report that's about to come out that shows that Black children have, compared to white families, I think it's 1 cent compared to every $100 or something. It's something ridiculous. I always thought it was about 12%, 11 or 12x gap. Right? It's much more worse than what we've been thinking it is.
Wow.
And so if we look at our communities, we can see that. If you look at the south side of Chicago versus the north side of Chicago, you can see that it's more than a 10 or 11x wealth gap. Right. So my point is, what are we spending these billions of dollars for? Why are we taking so much time out of learning? And more importantly, why can't we even meet the goal?
It's not even getting towards the low expectations.
Right. It would be one thing if we were spending, if I was saying, why are we spending so much money? And then someone can come back and say, well, look at the data, look at the improvement that we've made. Right. That's not happening.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's definitely not, right? Because we have decades now that are post school that went through these programs, and the numbers seem to be, actually our numbers are going down, right? The Black community, right. Our numbers are going down. Right. So, which kind of leads me to believe that it is working, right? Because somebody's clearly doing this.
What's the goal, huh? Right.
Yeah.
What's the real goal?
Oh, y'all thought it was supposed to go up. Like, oh no, that's not what we're doing.
Exactly.
But that seems to be, what's happening, right? But so we're talking about no benefits, right? So there's no benefit to standardized testing.
Well, no benefits to whom, right? And so if we think about the people that are benefit, I remember I would have about 40, 50 juniors. I was paying about $40,000, $50,000 a year to this testing program service that would come out and do practice assessments, provide back data, da 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 da. Think about how many billions of dollars we're spending to corporations, to publishing companies, to create all of this content. Think how much we're paying to the ACT, the people that make ACT, SAT, and all of those tests. Right. And then just on the books, the professional development for teachers, the posters, the handout, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry that's not working. And it really has no point.
Yeah, I never really thought about it from the money perspective, right? But I mean, being a principal, so you get to see the budgets and you've seen all of that. Yeah, so yeah, they are just getting rich off of these tests, right? I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And then what's interesting is they got it so ingrained in our mental, right? Like if you're not constantly testing, the parents kind of feel like something's not right. Like, why aren't you getting tested?
Right. Right. So, it's one of the things they look forward to on the calendar to see when testing is going. And they do all of the stuff. Make sure you get a good, nice rest the night before, and make sure you eat a breakfast and do all of this. And you come back and the test scores are flat.
Right. And
if not on a decline, year after year, the same thing, right? And so one of the things I did, Freddie, because I'm looking at this from a different standpoint, like, okay, if I pull this lever, do this, blah, 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 over this period of time, I should get this type of result. Right. And it wasn't happening. So I made all of my teachers, most of them, upset, because here's what I did. I scheduled for them to take the ACT.
The teachers.
The teachers, right? And so they mad, like, why we got to take the test. The mere fact of them being mad because you tell me I got to take an ACT mathematics test, I'm like, I'm about to get a perfect. If I don't get a perfect, I'm going to be mad, right? Right. They were upset. So that right there told you something. Remember, in one of the episodes, we talked about fear in adults, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They were afraid that did they even have the genius or the ability to do well in their subject matter? Right. But here's what was interesting. The average score for the teachers was my students' average score. Ooh. I wasn't able to get progress. I wasn't able to get progress because my teachers didn't have it within them. Right. To get them to that level. So you can get into they couldn't even take the test, right? Wow. And so you can get into all types of different things. They couldn't get the score because I'm trying to move. Okay, I want to move from 18 to 23. That's what I want my average to be. Well, first of all, even getting that type of movement is substantial, right? But then I couldn't get the movement because my teachers weren't averaging that. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So it's more so a reflection of the adults in the classrooms and the administrators not knowing what to do. But even if you got to that where you got them passing the assessment, and so what? You get a 30 on the ACT. All right, you get into school, you do, and so what? Yeah, and then what? Because when was the last time anyone asked you about your ACT score? They didn't. Right. And the score we should be teaching them about is the credit score. We're not hitting that. Now we talking, right? Instead of stuffing money. That's the most important life score that we're dealing with in this country. Yes. Listen, and we don't even teach it. And we don't even teach it. Ain't that the truth? Listen, we want y'all to know, right, that math is the blackest thing ever, and we want you to join us inside the Black Math Genius programs. Join us at blackmathgenius.com. Sister Assata, can you tell them why they should join us today? Absolutely. If you're looking for success, a mindset shift towards success, and not one where you're chasing assessments, right? Where you want your child to truly internalize the universal language of the universe, mathematics, have some understanding and be able to take it and apply it to different areas in their life, and to set up to get on a path to where they're on this career track that will help them build wealth. That is the ultimate goal. Happiness, of course, love for family, of course, but all of those things mean so much more when you can afford to live without the stresses of wondering where your next meal is going to come from, how you're going to pay your rent. You really want to start a business, but you can't afford to. You want to buy a home, but you can't afford to. Those are the real data points that matter, because only for a short period of time, Freddie, think about how long from 1 to 11, from birth to 12. Then you have a few years of being a teenager, right? That 20 is that little funny in between year. And then from 21 on, the whole rest of your life, you are an adult. Right. And we have to be more mindful of the things that we do before 21 to get our children on that path where they can live a fruitful life. I love it. It's so exciting. The Black Math Genius program is so deep, good people. Y'all make sure that y'all join us. blackmathgenius.com. You can check out our special offer at blackmathgenius.com. See you on the inside. All right, so let's get back to talking about the standardized tests. One thing that we didn't cover in the first part was it being biased against Black children. Can you lean into that a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of education in general. I like using examples, but I'm sitting in a computer science class my freshman year, and I'm sitting next to this sister from Detroit. We're the only 2 Black people in the classroom. It's lecture hall style, so it's like about 200 people in this computer science class, right? And this professor cracks this joke on skin or something like that. And me and Tish looking at each other like, what is this? Like, we're fighting over whose city is the best. Is it the Bulls or the Pistons? And And so and everyone in the lecture hall is cracking up laughing. That was a cultural difference. Even though it was a joke, it made us feel like we weren't a part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when you look at these standardized assessments, a lot of times certain things come from experiences. And if you're not able to travel, if you're not around certain people having a particular type of vocabulary,
right.
If you're not doing extracurricular activities, if you can't afford a tutor, all of those things give you an advantage. And Black children, if you're coming in low socioeconomic status, and not saying that all Black families are in that, we know that.
Right.
But when you're coming in low socioeconomic status, that alone gives you a disadvantage. Imagine you taking a vacation to California for the summer, right? Doing a road trip up the Pacific, and you're doing these different time zones. You're coming over, you're able to do all of these things, and versus a child that couldn't. And now you ask them a question about what time is it in California if the time in New York is such and such, or what ocean is here. Reading about this stuff and saying it's completely different than experiencing it.
Right, right. From having
Right.
that experience of flying from California to New York and seeing the time has actually changed.
Trying different foods, seeing different cultures, doing like you can remember and do those different things. That's why I'm big on travel in my own family. But it is biased towards Black children from a cultural standpoint. And it started off that way, even with the language that they use in the test, the way that the questions are, the examples that they give. I remember one of the questions had something about, this was a while ago in Michigan, it had something about what do you bring to a birthday party? And one of the questions on there that our children chose, and it was the wrong answer, but most of our children chose it, they chose fish. Now, why did they choose fish? Because Black people typically have what? A fish fry.
Right. I love us.
Right. Our children's parties usually turn into adult parties. Right?
Yeah, that's the warm up. The warm up is for the young folks.
Right.
No, man, we gonna be over here all night. Like, come on over when you get a chance.
Right. So there are cultural differences that impact. I mean, just with the Facebook algorithm, there have been certain things that I've done or said that they've taken it as offense. Me just playing around with my students. Mm-hmm. And they've taken it as something that means completely nothing of what they say it violates their rules. And I always respond in an upset way, like, it's because y'all don't understand Black culture that y'all, if you look at it and see like, oh, that's how Black people joke with each other.
You don't understand Black culture, but you're trying to police us all the time, right?
Which is what assessments do, right? They don't understand us, but they want to police our intellect.
You are quick, sister. That was good. Yeah, that was great. Okay, but they standardized tests also they carry no significance in our lives, right? Like who's testing us today, right?
Right. I mean, think about it. When we were doing the Iowa test. I can't think of one question from the Iowa test. I can't think of any type of impact it had on my life. None. My students, even today that are graduating doing that, no impact, none.
Right. I'm
visiting one of my students. She's grown now, 30. Both her and her brother were at the school, and mom is telling me a story. Boy, when she studied day and night, did her index card, blah, blah, blah. And then her brother, he said, I'm not studying for that thing. She's saying they got the same score.
Right. It really doesn't have any significance on
you have as good as a chance going through choosing C all the way through.
Right. Look, I think this is gonna take you back. I think Oregon Trail had more of an impact on my life. Right. That was my game back then. Right. But if we're just being honest, right? We can say that the children aren't failing, the adults are, right? Like,
the adults are. And so if you look at it, because that's the way that I always internalize it. If I looked at it like this, if I taught something well and made sure that the student understands it, they should be able to go to any school in any state, see a question on the subject that I taught and do well on it. Yeah. And if they can't, then that is a reflection of my teaching. Not of their learning. And especially if the majority of the students aren't able to score at a certain level. So these standardized tests, they are a reflection of parenting, a reflection of teaching, and a reflection of administrators not being able to get the job done.
I love the theme that we got going, right? Because it's really that belief slope, right? Because like we talked about last episode, it's really that
Yep.
we're not believing enough in our children, and it's showing not only in the test scores but in our actions and the effort that we put into them. So, woo, powerful stuff, sister. We definitely
Yeah.
got to change it. You guys want to leave them with any last thoughts before we close out?
Yes. I mean, the other thing about the assessments is so much of the material in there is meaningless. I mean, when was the last time that you used a complex number or the square root of -1? I mean, so we need to do away with a lot of that and deal with stuff that is more meaningful to our real lives. And that's what the Black Math Genius program does.
I love
We
it.
go in and we focus on things that are relevant, and that's going to prepare them for the future. And that's why we have a heavy focus on coding as well, taking this mathematics, this analytical thinking, this ability to write algorithms, transfer that into coding, and prepare them for a future that's 5, 10, even 20 years down the line, a future that we cannot see yet, but we know that this is what they need. They need to know how to think, and they need to know how to code.
Perfect, perfect. Well said. Well said, sister. Appreciate you as usual. We are
Thank you.
going to close out with that, but please join us inside the Black Math Genius program. You can sign up at blackmathgenius.com. That's blackmathgenius.com. Looking forward to see you inside of there. For Sister Assata Moore, I'm Freddie Taylor. Until next time, we wish you love, peace, and Black power. But before I let you go, let me ask you to download our mobile app. You can grab it at it's called Raising Proud Black Children. Raising Proud Black Children. You can search on the Google Play Store or the iPhone App Store, or you can come on over to sankoverclub.com/app, and we'll link you directly to your platform. So until then, download the Raising Proud Black Children app. Love, peace, and Black power, good people. Take care.